right, good afternoon. It's Matt and Mary Beth along with our guest Shane Force and Pat Lowe. Thanks for being on the call too, Pat. You'll have some good questions to be able to chime in with Shane. So Shane, how's it going? Give us a little update. How are you?
Very good. Very good. Before we get into questions, I had a couple things that I wanted to touch on, just kind of give everyone a rate update. We're seeing rates in the low threes to mid threes for a 30-year fixed, high twos to low threes for a 15-year fix. So very good levels. We've had some good days on the just market front in general. The stock market has come back this week. And I think last I saw, everything was positive. Yeah, okay, the 30-year treasury is down, but mortgage-backed securities are doing well. So that's positive for mortgage rates. And the stock market is doing well also. So I think all these talks of when are we bringing things back is just good news. So it's been good for us as well. And I've taken a number of purchase transactions this week. So that's been good.
Nice.
You know? And I would say the majority of those
what kind of purchase transactions?
What's that?
What kind? Single family? What kind of range? Most of
the time, primary residence. Not many first-time home. Well, one first-time home buyer, and the other two were move-up buyers. So they're selling their homes as well. So people are still moving. Just a little bit different process involved with that. And we're still seeing a good amount of property inspection waivers. I would say maybe 50-60% where the appraiser does not have to go into the home to do the appraisal. So maybe it's just exterior only, or maybe it's just you don't have to do it at all, which the customers like that because then they don't have to pay the appraisal cost at all. So that's been good. Yeah. One of the things that we've seen on the rise, unfortunately, during this time is wire fraud, because now people, no one really wants to go into a bank branch, right? So the people that were going to get a certified check are doing wires, even for their second deposit 2 weeks after attorney review. They're wiring those funds. And I heard 2 incidences from title companies in the weeks past. One of my customers got hit with a second deposit that somebody posed as his attorney, and he wired it to the wrong place. So we just all have to tell, you never wire money without verbally confirming with your attorney or the title company the details. Never go by email alone. So because people don't want to walk into the bank branch, we're using those wires so much more than we did 5-6 weeks ago. So something that.
But that's a really great point you're mentioning here. The security. There's a security risk there with the money being wired. So to really make sure all parties are really the parties, right?
Yeah. And when you wire funds, you actually, you actually see where it's going. When you put in that wire information, like you'll see Nigeria or Texas or somewhere else. You know what I mean? So if it's fishy at all, pick up the phone and call the attorney or call the title company. And they'll make the email look very close to your attorney's, right? They'll make it look 1 digit off, 2 digits off, and you'll think it's your attorney, but it's not. So you never trust anything via email when it comes to wiring money. So
are you seeing more issues with that now than before?
Absolutely.
This is something that we educated our agents on a lot even before this, but you're seeing more now.
No doubt, because people are wiring money so much more than they did 5-6 weeks ago. Yeah. I've never heard, wire fraud has been around for 5-6 years, right? Probably more so in the last 3 years, but I've never heard of someone getting hit for their second deposit, not so much their final closing monies, but because normally they would send that check to the attorney, right? It would just be a normal check.
It wouldn't even have to be a bank check. Just send a check out of your checkbook. I mean, it's going to have plenty of time to clear.
Correct. So there's first times for everything. It's unfortunate that somebody would kind of prey on people at this time, right? When things have been tougher than they have been in a decade, but it's happening. So we just have to, I made a video on my Facebook page that I'm sending out to every customer that's in my pipeline right now. I sent it out to everyone this morning, just kind of warning people about it. If it looks suspicious, pick up the phone. Even if it doesn't look suspicious, you get wiring instructions. call your attorney or title company.
And
Yeah.
Shane, that's just Shane Force, your profile page. People can go and friend request you there, or is that a business page?
It is a business. Yeah, it is a business one. I always need to look it up as well. It's facebook.com/ShaneForceAHL. Shane Force
AHL. Okay,
Yeah.
so guys, go there, friend, like his page so that you can get that great value and you could share out those videos.
And
Yep.
that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the link to your page, Shane. I'm going to put it in the Facebook Live comment section. So
Perfect.
for those, it looks like we have some people watching on Facebook Live, so they can plug
Yeah.
in from there.
Okay, good. Good. One of the other things to keep in mind is now they are checking, even if you're self-employed, they're checking to see that you're employed the day of the closing. Like normally we need to check like 7 to 10 days before. They're doing that and checking the day of the closing. A week and a half ago, I had a gentleman closing on Thursday, lost his job on Wednesday. He didn't tell us, but we found out from checking that day of the closing. So, that's part of COVID regulations. And what a lot of times they're doing to check and see is like they're going on Google. Like Google, I don't know how they get this information, but that you can go and just click on a business and it says closed or temporarily closed. And
Yes.
so if they see that your business is closed to the public, that could be a red flag. And, that they actually, one of my customers had 2 locations. One of them was only open like once a week. And one of my underwriters saw and said, this guy's closed, and I looked at it and I said, no, it says he's open on Tuesdays, but this location in another town is open 5 days a week. So it caused an issue and we were scrambling around the day of the closing. So
Yeah, that's not always accurate.
it isn't.
Yeah.
No, you're right. And then I said, go on his website. Like his website says, hey, he's still working, so yeah, you have to, it didn't hold anything up, but it certainly had me scrambling the day of their closing.
What about the SBA loans? Any comments on those?
Small
And
business.
also, I mean, because you're in the numbers and you're in the finance world, I'd love for you just to share some thoughts around this $349 billion that we just spent.
Yeah.
Just talk a little bit to the financial temperature of our economy.
Yeah, my wife and I were just talking about it this morning. Just the debt that we're taking on is just not good long term. It really is not for inflation, and just it's not good for our children if we're going to kick the can down the road. It is very dangerous what we're doing. I understand why we're doing it, and hey, we need to, but yeah, and I think that small business unemployment thing just kind of ran out of money, right? I think that's what happened this morning. Yeah. So it's not a good thing for the long-term, stability of our country. And what if people stop buying that debt and stop buying those bonds? It's not great at all. So
and somebody answered me with, they'll just print more money. And so what does that mean if the government just prints more money? What does that do to the value of the dollar? Or
exactly, yeah, just devalues our dollar, right, compared to the rest of the world.
It's like splitting the shares, right?
Yeah, it devalues our money compared to the rest of the world. And hey, maybe we're still doing better than other economies. I know that a country like Sweden, who really has not shut down much, for some reason they're not being hit much, by the virus. It's just incredible how our area, like we're right in the epicenter of this, right? I was talking to a company, MLink, that we work with today regarding our marketing service agreements. And they were saying, well, you guys are right in the zone where everything is shut down. They have other companies in Iowa and Nebraska where they're doing business with realtors and mortgage companies. And it's a small event for them. For us, we're 20 minutes from the epicenter. It's crazy how we are right smack dab in the middle of it.
It's so crazy too, because if you just take us back to 30 days ago, and we were probably maybe more than that, but sitting in the training room discussing what was really going to happen. Yeah. And honestly, looking at where it was originating from, we thought California for sure would be the state that gets impacted the most. I mean, of course we knew New York would as well, but just on that side, And I mean, I stopped looking at the numbers about a week ago because I just started getting like sick to my stomach as to how many cases really did hit. And then looking at New York and New Jersey just climbed to the top there. And then interviewing so many top leaders throughout our country the last couple of weeks and understanding that they are not anywhere near what New York and New Jersey is experiencing as far as the real estate market.
Yes. Yep. You're right.
And they're more normal, you say, Mary Beth? Like
Yeah,
more-
they're just, you know,
like
they could,
more, like a little
Pennsylvania,
affected?
yeah, they're a little affected. Like there still is the fear people don't want to be doing multiple people showing. It's one-on-one showings. It's, you know, it's like when this first started and people
Right,
were
they
still
us
willing
4
to work.
weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Having
And that's,
hundreds of people each day getting tested and getting tested positive for it. Like, you know, I think it's just a different mindset in other parts of the country.
and they're not as densely populated, so if
Yeah.
it doesn't spread as quickly. I mean, here you go into the bank, you talk to 1,000, you touch 1,000 people if you grab the handle. In Iowa, you might, maybe 100 people went through the bank that day.
Yeah.
So it's just that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and it'll be something that will reverberate. I mean, these shock waves will probably feel a year, 2 years down the road, because we're going to see a dip in self-employment income, right? So you're going to see, you know, tax returns from 2020 will always be, oh, but it was 2020, right? So
Yeah.
so we will see that as far as the mortgage industry and other, you know, getting people approved. This is going to affect us for, you know, loans in up to probably 2023, where this will be an issue. And we don't know if people that are laid off, are they going to go back, right? Because I've read several articles that some retailers are going to be closing, and will they open back up? You know,
well, I think that through the necessity, people got creative, right? And if you've been able to take your business to an online platform, at least for, you know, half of what you were doing, you're going to be able to shut down that brick and mortar jobs, and you're gonna be able to cut a big chunk out of your operating expenses, which then should give you a bigger profit margin. So even though some may say we want to return back to what we were doing, it's not going to be completely back to what they were doing. There are going to be adjustments, you know, to keep them more profitable. And that might be not opening up, you know, brick and mortar doors.
Or as many, or hiring as many people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's think of the positives of it, though. Like this type of interaction is certainly going to be more positive. One of my friends lives in LA, and she took a picture of like 3 months ago from her living room window and today, and it was just crazy that the lack of smog in LA from that few month difference. You know what I mean? So there have been positives, right? And spending time with family if you're cooped up and with them. But I think the efficiencies that we'll see in this type of environment, you don't need to, you know, take a 2,000-mile trip to sit down with 4 people. You can do this and hash it out over a day or two.
Well,
you know.
and also you probably find this even more so in the beginning stages when someone's entertaining the idea of purchasing a home, to get husband and wife on the same schedule, to be able to sit in front of them and then to go over if a rate change or to explain something. So now, you know, if you have a wife that's working in the city and the dad's working locally, can we jump on at lunchtime and have our appointment? Whereas normally I had to wait till Saturday for them to come into the office.
Correct.
Now this is a new normal. And I think a lot of people are, you know, they were intimidated about putting themselves on video, and now we're seeing all ages, from little kids using Zoom for classwork to grandparents to connect with their families over Zoom. So it has become a little bit of a new normal. There's no fear in the video. And I do think that you have to have more purposeful interactions with people. It's not just you're going to walk in the store and find 10 people on a grocery line and start chit-chatting and pick up a client. You can't, you know, you have to find different ways to create that grocery line and, you know, those opportunities that you meet people at events. You're purposely going into events. So it's different, but I think it's going to save us some time, and it also should allow us to be a little more efficient and productive if we use it the right way.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, but as you were mentioning, how it's affecting businesses, I think right now still self-employed borrowers that are getting mortgages, they still have the advantage over, because even if your business is still open and your profits are zero, you can still get a mortgage right now, because we'll ask for a profit and loss, and you'll give me one as of March, which has been pretty much unaffected. But somebody who works for a hotel or a restaurant chain, they're furloughed, they're collecting unemployment, you can't get a mortgage. So the self-employeds have that advantage right now. They can get a loan if they wanted to, or buy a house or buy an investment property if they wanted to. And I think there's going to be opportunity coming out of this too. There really is, that if for entrepreneurs, because like we said, some of these retail companies and larger companies are going to be going out of business. If we see dips in, other markets, I think it'll be an opportunity also coming out of this.
For sure.
You
Is your wife's business moved to online completely, or she kind of stopped for a little?
Doing online, and she's delivering within like a 4 or 5 town radius, which certainly isn't, what she normally could do, but it's doing more than what you would think, and she just leaves the things on the steps and then texts the person and says, "Hey, I just dropped off your
Awesome.
your bag." But yeah, certainly not. The sales aren't what she would hope, but it's better than nothing,
Still keeping her servicing clients, and they'll know that she's there. Maybe some of their spending has cut back, but once it gets back, she should not lose the client.
Yeah.
Pat, you wanted to add?
We have somebody in the office that just lost a deal the day of the closing with a self-employed person, like you were saying. So I guess they did the last minute verifying of the employment, but he had a daycare center that was closed. So maybe they looked to see that he owned daycare centers.
Yeah. So you are shut down then. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's very valid. Yeah.
So a profit and loss would do no good there, right, Shane?
No, probably not. Probably not. No. Yeah, if that business is shut down, which there's no way of getting around that, right? Google's going to probably say you're shut down, and that common sense says that you're shut down as well.
Even without Google, we know that they can't open. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So other self-employment, like contractors, realtors, loan officers, commission-based sales that can still continue to go on even digitally, could probably prove that they're
some
still
realtors, some realtors, I have a realtor at the Basking Ridge KW office, like she hasn't missed a beat, man. She's doing good business in this
probably
environment.
It's probably Michelle. Michelle, right?
No, it's
Michelle's
not.
got to be, she's got to be cleaning up though.
But there's still people doing business and still people buying homes. So you're not interacting probably with the client like you would, but you can certainly talk on the phone and let them in houses without, you going in. But
I have a question. How about, I was just talking with one of our agents early this morning about refi, HELOC, secondary market, everything going away. What's your take on especially HELOC and refi?
Yeah, so the markets that we've seen that have been mostly affected, investment properties, the pricing is just so off of where it would have been. Like in 6 weeks ago, you probably could have gotten an investment property, 2 or 3 family home for putting 25% down for like 3 7/8 or 4%. Now that might be 4 1/4, charging 1 or 1.5 points. The market just doesn't really have a lot of tolerance for that risk. FHA loans, very tough to get a 0-point quote to a customer. You might, if they don't have perfect credit, you might see, hey, you're at 3.5% with 1 point or 1 1/4 points, which is very tough for that type of buyer to come up with that. You might be able to work it into a seller concession, but seller concessions aren't the easiest to get through if there's multiple offers, right? Renovation loans, a lot of mortgage companies have just said no renovation loans, no construction loans. We're not sure of what that builder's stability is going to be in 3 weeks. So those loans have been suspended. That's what we've said. We're not getting rid of our construction programs, but they've been suspended. So that's what I've seen has been most affected. Anything that isn't plain vanilla has suffered from this. But if someone's buying a home with 20% down or refinancing, 20% equity, 30% equity, they're getting phenomenal rates, phenomenal. And we're not at records. We're about 0.25% off all-time lows that we never saw. March 6th, we hit our all-time low, 2 7/8 on a 30-year. We locked in a couple people. So we're about 0.25 to 0.3% off that, depending on the scenario. Oh, and cash out refinances. I guess the sharks kind of see that as a sign of weakness. If you're taking cash out, well, what are you doing? Did you get yourself in trouble? Cash out, there normally was like 0.8% difference. Now it can be like 0.5% higher because you're trying to take $10,000 out to cover your kids' college tuition. Well, that never was the case, but I guess they see that as what's going on. Can they not afford their bills? It's going to be a higher rate now. So
they're saying even if they have 20 or 30% equity with a cash out refi, their points are good. Their interest rate's going to be a bit higher than
rate will be higher than if you were just refinancing your mortgage. Yeah.
And people will have to weigh that out to see, is it worth it for them to do right now?
Correct. Or pay points. Like I have a scenario where I was pricing. The one was like, okay, I want to see if I can go to 75% of the value of my home and 80%. And at 75%, I was able to give her like 3.5 with no points. But at 80% financing, that was the max you can do. And I had to charge her points. So it was like 3.625 with 1 point. It's a much different scenario than what you would have seen 6 weeks ago.
What did she choose?
I think she's going to go the 80 and pay the points. Yeah, to try and get the cash out. Yeah. And then it's a matter of what is the home appraised for, right? So that's always the biggest obstacle. So maybe it appraises 5% higher and she doesn't have to pay that, but we'll see.
Pat, were you trying to?
Well, to that point, I just want to make anybody who's watching and not understanding that is if it does appraise more and she was going to take the note for a certain amount and that was calculated at the 75%, but now it appraised higher, which gives you a little wiggle room that the note is now 80, so giving you a little more room.
Yeah, that appraisal is key in most refinances and it can improve your rate depending on what you're looking at. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, it's just so crazy that right before this hit, the rates were at an all-time low and you couldn't get through to the lenders were like going absolutely insane. And then everything just did a 360 almost overnight. It's just crazy. Life's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. We'll talk about this. Those of us that kind of lived through, September 11th in 2008, it really makes those look like small potatoes, right? I mean,
doesn't it? Yeah, but in a way, it's the same.
Yeah.
The more I get into it, the more it's starting to feel the same.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah, I think at the beginning it didn't, but as time goes on, it's starting to feel more similar, I think. We'll see.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, our mortgage programs changed dramatically after that, and our industry was a big cause of the 2008 recession, but now we're just, reactionary, and it makes sense based on what's been going on. I can't blame underwriters and people that are backing loans for what they've done.
Yeah.
But when we look at 9/11, especially though, I know in our area, specifically Jersey, New York, there was a quietness, there was a sadness, there was a fear of, is this coming again? I mean, forget about the money and the things that we have, like, are we going to get attacked? Are we going to war? And so at least in this situation, we were able to pivot. The four of us right here, literally it was like, oh, okay, let's just go this direction. And I'm just so impressed with how quickly everybody just adapted to the change and found their new normal really quickly and didn't get stuck in it. Now, there's a lot of people we know that are stuck in it, which is why we're doing this and we're educating and we're asking you to join us and just stay plugged in, because we know how fragile it is right now for you to flip off and not be productive, right? But I think that's a little bit of the difference, is that we literally went into action right away, whereas I think we got frozen a little bit out of fear of our lives.
We're New Yorkers. We're tough.
We are.
Get through anything. Come on. All right, Matt, want to close it up?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Shane, do you have any final things that you want to share as we get close to 1:30?
I think the more that we see, I'm seeing that looks like the Dow is up like 460 right now. And there's just so much talk today about reopening. I think the more we get, the more talk we get about reopening, the more we're going to see buyers out there. I'm a believer that I think there's going to be a huge deluge of business when this gets over with. Like we're going to have multiple offers and bidding wars like we haven't seen. Like Pat, you guys got to bring more inventory to the market, right? Because we are going to have, once buyers feel comfortable going out there, it is going to be, sure, there still will be people that will slowly becoming employed again, but I think there's plenty of people that are employed and that are ready to buy, and they just don't feel comfortable walking through homes right now. That's just it. But they, as soon as they do, and this is just helping. I'm watching CNBC here, and this is just helping because it seems like the country is getting more comfortable with it, and that's helping the markets, and it'll probably help our industry as well.
So Pat, you heard it from Shane Force. Pat Lowe, go get us more inventory, Pat. If you're listening out there, list with Pat so she can bring us inventory. All right.
Thank you so much, Shane. We will see you same time next week at 1 o'clock.
All right. Sounds good,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Have a
Pat.
great weekend.
Okay. Bye.
See ya.